Good morning to each and everyone, to our research teacher, Ma'am Jocelyn Ibias, to Sir John Francis Zapanta, and to Sir Erwin Bagiwong. I am Kendall Pilar, the leader of this research together with my members, Mr. Jose Emmanuel Atienza and Ms. Mika Gaureta, to present to you our research proposal entitled The Effects of Classical Music on the Cognitive Performance of Grade 12 Students in Golden Acres National High School, a new perspective on the Mozart effect. Background of the study. As stated by the great philosopher Plato, music gives the soul to the universe, wings to the mind, flight to the imagination, and life to everything. It means that the presence of music can be found everywhere, in the media, online, and even in people's lifestyles, emotions, and way of thinking. Aside from all of those things, there are also some evidences that indicate a direct influence of it to people's cognitive abilities. One of it is the study conducted by Roscher, Shaw, and Key in 1993 entitled Music and Spatial Task Performance. In this experiment, they concluded that listening to the sonata for two pianos in D major K448 of the famous classical period composer Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart improves the spatial listening skills of the students after listening to it for 10 minutes before answering the test. They call this phenomenon the Mozart effect. There have been a lot of debates in the past whether the Mozart effect is true. That is because many researchers who tried to replicate the study failed to produce the same results. However, there are also some experiments that supported these findings and even tried to investigate its effect on other types of cognitive skills using a different approach, thus giving birth to a new perspective on the Mozart effect. For the statement of the problem, here is Mr. Jose Emmanuel Atienza.
Thank you, Mr. Del Pilar. This study aims to know the effects of listening to classical music, particularly to Mozart's sonata for two pianos in D major, K448, on the cognitive performance of grade 12 students in Golden Acres National High School. Specifically, it sought to answer the following questions. What is the level of cognitive skills of grade 12 students in Golden Acres National High School before using the classical music, in areas such as reasoning, perceptual speed, number speed and accuracy, word meaning, and spatial visualization? Number 2, what is the level of cognitive skills of grade 12 students in Golden Acres National High School after using classical music in areas such as reasoning, perceptual speed, number speed and accuracy, word meaning, and spatial visualization? Number 3, is there a significant difference in the cognitive skills of the students before and after using the classical music?
Significance of the study. This study will be significant to the following. Students, as it will help them to focus on their studies and improve their scores in some examinations. Parents, as it can serve as a basis for them in guiding their children for a more efficient study habit. Teachers, as it could provide them new teaching methods in order to enhance their students' cognitive performance. School administrators, as it could give them new ideas and methods in creating academic programs. And for future researchers, this study could also serve as a reference in testing and validating their hypothesis regarding the relationship between the classical music and the cognitive performance.
Scope and the limitation. This study involves 30 grade 12 students from Golden Acres National High School who are active during the school year 2020 to 2021. It will test their cognitive performance in 5 different areas, namely reasoning, perceptual speed, number speed and accuracy, word meaning, and spatial visualization in a pre-test and post-test with 1 week interval. The instrument used will be limited based on the standard of the Thomas International General Intelligence Assessment. It will be used to compare the results prior and subsequent to the utilization of classical music. Other factors that may affect the results will not be further discussed in the study.
Synthesis. In the study by Roscher, Shaw, and Key in the year 1993 entitled Music and Spatial Task Performance, the 36 undergraduate students which they used showed remarkable scores in spatial reasoning test when exposed to Mozart sonata for 10 minutes before the examination. It was significantly better compared to when they were exposed to relaxation guide or in silence for the same amount of time. This findings was then called the Mozart effect. To support these conclusions, Hughes and Fino of the year 2000 described in their study the complexity of the Mozart sonata and how it affects our brain using computer analysis. He showed that the strong frequencies of the certain notes triggers most area of the brain, and even discussed how it would help decreasing seizures and epileptiform activities. In the study of Schellenberg and colleagues of the year 2007, more evidence of the Mozart effect was discovered and even discussed its possible variations across age groups. However, some studies contradicted these findings and even questioned the existence of the Mozart effect, just like the experiment by Carstens, Huskins, and Hunschel in the year 1995, who failed to replicate the findings of Rocha and company from 1993. Because of multiple studies contradicting the Mozart effect, Taylor and Rowe of the year 2012 tried its application on mathematical skills instead of spatial reasoning. Their findings showed that listening to Mozart's sonata really improved the scores of the students, and it also effective when used as a background music.
Research hypothesis. This study will test the hypothesis based on the specific problems that the researchers have considered. It was stated in the form of null hypothesis with significance level of 0.05, which states that there is no significant difference in the cognitive performance test scores of students before and after the classical music is utilized.
This figure shows the relationship between the variables of the study. It illustrates a possible effect of the independent variable, which is the classical music, particularly Mozart's sonata for two pianos in D major K448, into the dependent variable, which is the cognitive performance of the students in 5 areas, namely reasoning, perceptual speed, number speed and accuracy, word meaning, and spatial visualization.
Research design. We will employ a causal, experimental research design using a quantitative approach, as it incorporates pre-test and post-test control group in the study. We will utilize a quantitative method as the study sought to establish a statistically corresponding cause and effect relationship between the exposure of the students to classical music and their scores in various cognitive performance assessments.
The responses will be selected among the grade 12 students of Golden Acres National High School from both the Science, Technology, Engineering, and Mathematics, STEM, and the Accountancy, Business, and Management, ABM strand, that are active during the academic year 2020 and 2021. This will be selected using purposive sampling with the criteria 1. Active grade 12 student of Golden Acres National High School for the academic year 2020 and 2021. 2. Have access to stable internet connection. 3. Owns a laptop or a personal computer. And 4. Owns an earphones or headset. The chosen respondents will take part of the pre-test and post-test assessment to test their level of cognitive performance in the given conditions.
Research instrument. We modified the question from the Thomas International General Intelligence Assessment that was developed by Dr. Peter Dunn and approved by the British Psychological Society. It consists of 5 cognitive performance areas, namely reasoning, perceptual speed, number speed and accuracy, word meaning, and spatial visualization. It will be answered by the respondents using Google Forms within the allotted amount of time in every given area. It will be administered in a pre-test and post-test with 1-week interval, wherein in the post-test, the respondents will play the pre-downloaded Mozart sonata as background music while they are answering.
Data gathering procedure. For the first week, we will be sending the formal letters to the school principal of Golden Acres National High School to get permission in conducting the study. The research instrument to be used by the researchers will then be validated by the experts. After the research instrument has been validated, in the second week, the researchers will conduct a survey to the target population in order to select the needed respondents. When the respondents have given their approval to take part in the study, the pre-test will be conducted. With 1-week interval, a post-test will then be administered in the condition that the respondents have downloaded the required background music that will be played simultaneously as they answer the tests online through Google Forms. Lastly, the data analysis will commence in the 4th week of our data gathering procedure.
In terms of descriptive statistics, we are going to use mean, which is the summation of all the scores of the respondents divided by the number of respondents, and standard deviation, which is the measure of dispersion of set of data from the mean. In inferential statistics, we are going to use z-test, which is a statistical test used to determine whether two population means are different when the variances are known and the sample size is large. Mrs. Laureta, will you explain the statistical treatment of data?
This study will utilize Google Form Checker and manual calculations as a statistical treatment of data in order to provide a better understanding and exact description of the concerning phenomenon. That is all for our presentation. Thank you for listening.
Before we get into the actual presentation of our research, let us first ask the guidance and presence of our beloved God.
In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Our Father in heaven, holy be your name. Your kingdom come. Your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our sins, as we forgive those who sin against us. Do not lead us to the test, but deliver us from evil. Amen. Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen. We are Group C of 11 ABMA. My name is Carl D. Madarang.
I'm Michaela Salas.
I'm Josiah Miguel A. Tubig.
I'm Arnel Rafael R. Delusong.
Jay Tingaran. I am Micaela Pangan.
I'm John Benedict Torres.
Presenting our research entitled as The Impact of Online Class of Grade 11 Students in Colegio de Calumpit, Inc. Academic Year 2020-2021.
1. Our topic is online class in the Philippines. This new system of learning education that the Department of Education decided to open in the middle of pandemic was met with criticism. Students and parents pointed out that their household finances have been affected by months of lockdown and they could not afford to buy the tools needed for the new education system. We would like to address all the possible problems that may encounter in online class. Both privileged and the less fortunate are having a hard time with this. That is why conducting this research is not only knowing the perspective of our fellow students, but also giving awareness to ourselves in terms of hardships that we are facing, because not every student have the same level of learning capability.
So our title is The Impact of Online Class of Grade 11 Students in Colegio de Calumpit Incorporated, Academic Year 2020-2021. The COVID-19 pandemic has greatly affected various aspects of normal life, including going to office and school. As a result, schools have been forced to forego traditional classes and shift to online classes instead. Currently, conducting online classes is the only way out to keep imparting knowledge. It involves the use of digital services to create a virtual classroom. The teacher and students sign into a communication app and sit in front of their devices. This new system did encounter a few hiccups initially, but things have been smoothened out. The discussion around online classes has sparked a lot of controversy. The issue of online class is one about access. More broadly, it is about the education system and the problems that hinder us from making online classes a reality. The pandemic has also highlighted the need to improve the education system and presents an opportunity to do so. So our main research question, what are the challenges of online learning to the students of Colegio de Calumpit? So we chose this question because our aim is to know each problem or issue that every student in our school is facing day by day, and also to resolve those problems by means of our research. So how? How we must identify the respondents who are qualified to take part in our research, and how we must conduct a survey to those respondents. Moving on, here are the three supporting questions based on the main research question provided. Number one, do the quality of an education are like the traditional ones? So we chose this question to compare the current situation of our education system, which is the online class, to the traditional ones. The second one, does online class ensure that students will be capable of understanding each lesson and at the same time gain knowledge? So we chose this question so that we all know if online class is the best way to gain knowledge and to impart knowledge to the students at this time of crisis. And lastly, what are the factors that may affect the performance of a student via online class? So we chose this question so that we all know the different aspects that make hindrances to those or to each student via online class. So that's all.
Why are we conducting this research? First, to test how the online class is efficient to all students. With this, we will be able to know if online class can keep up with the traditional or face-to-face class. Since we need to adopt the new normal, adjustments should be done so that we can determine how effective the measures are taken. It might also be beneficial in assessing whether if it is successful in terms of how students learn throughout the process. Second, to address all the possible problems that may encounter in online class. By enumerating and identifying the problems in an online class, we can prepare solutions that would likely bring up good conclusions and results. For that to happen, monitoring the conditions of students, teachers, and the learning environment should be considered as the aspects for prospects. Some of the problems might not be interchangeable, but we can still adjust the other factors so that they could align with each other. Third, to fill gaps about the necessary needs of online classes. Setting the improvement we can do and adjust according to what is needed. Similar to other reasons, how we'll address the conflict that exists in the learning environment and in the learning process itself matters as it is the next step that we need to take to maintain the efficiency of online class for the long run. Fourth, to figure out if the student is in line with the new normal education system. What are the challenges students encounter while attending online class and how do they cope with the new educational system? Assessing their conditions are one of the most essential aspects to consider in learning systems. Concerns such as will they be able to catch up with the pace even if the internet connection's not that good? Are the deadlines given fair enough for the students to comply with it? And etc. Lastly, to find out if they are learning or just being forced to pass the subject. This is a matter of compliance, yet the most important objective still matters more. The objective to learn and benefit with the knowledge that are being provided rather than being immersed with the number system. The situations might be different for each individual as everyone is molded with different mindsets in terms of learning and being able to pass the present and the upcoming school years.
Who target respondents? First, grade 11 student in Colegio de Calumpit. The target respondents are grade 11 students from Colegio de Calumpit. There are several students that can't catch up the lesson because of the poor internet connection and some struggle about their mental health because of other activities or school works. When the distance learning started, a lot of students has been reported feeling anxious and stressed with online classes. We target the grade 11 student for they are the next generation in our school which is they will be graduates next year. So they are ones we choose because they are also the first experience the new learning method. Suppose when they arrive the grade 12 they can still handle the situation. Second, teacher. We also target to hear the opinions of some teacher about their perspective or outlook to their students since their new learning has started. It's true that online classes has made emotional stress for most students.
Where? The targeted respondents are the grade 11 student from Colegio de Calumpit. On our research, we want to give awareness from this so students who are struggling from online class. The mental and emotional pressures that students can feel is loneliness, anxiety, and even can lead to depression. A good 8 hours of sleep, a healthy diet, and regular exercise can help you boost your positive impact on your mental health. But this research is not only give awareness to the grade 11 students of the Kalumpit, but also the very students who's struggling and having a hard time to adjust in this new learning.
When the respondents we aim to seek are also students like us and teachers who currently have online classes ongoing on weekdays. We do not want to rush things to our respondents because we know that they have their own things to do and we do not wish to interfere on their time management. So in order for us to get a clear answer, we decided for our schedule, we will use after dismissal time, weekends, and also it depends on the availability of our respondents.
For our introduction, we are going to enlighten you about our topic. In this part, we will tell you about what exactly is online learning, the history of online learning, and now, for the first part, is the literature. A, vari- a variety of technologies has been used to engage students participating in work-integrated learning. Email or list, listservs were the initial technology applied either alone or in combination with the resource web page. As technology advanced, other types of technology emerged. Asynchronous discussion boards were the prominent model of technical engagement, either alone or as part of an overall virtual environment. Blackboard and WebCT course management systems were also frequently used as overall virtual environments for students.
Online education is a form of education where students use their home computers through the internet. For many non-traditional students, all those who want to continue working full-time or raising families, online tech. Often online graduation and first course programs, some of which are conducted using digital technologies, are provided via the online learning portal of the host university. E-learning, also referred to as online learning or electronic learning, is the acquisition of knowledge which takes place through electronic technologies and media. In simple language, e-learning is defined as learning that is enabled electronically. Typically, e-learning is conducted on the internet where the students can access their learning materials online at any time, any place.
In the Philippines, e-learning started to popularize in the early 2000s along with the growing popularity of ICT in government and education. The implementation then has been challenged with the absence and considerable ICT infrastructure to support and service was the greatest challenge to early adoption. Today, the improvement of ICT infrastructure and increased penetration, internet access in the country including remote areas is seen as an advantage to support and strengthen e-learning and open distance learning.
The Philippines are still adapting to the new normal caused by the pandemic. As months pass by, using online classes as their mode of learning poses many difficulties they might encounter. Some of the challenges that students face nowadays are technical issues. Experts say technical issues are bound to happen in an online-only environment. It also includes the poor internet connection of the students. According to the statistics, Philippines is in rank 110th out of 139 countries in the world having the fastest internet connection, with only an average of 18.45 megabits per second. Many students are not well equipped with a high internet connection that is required for online learning. Due to this, they face problems in going live for virtual learning and other platforms that require internet connection. They face technical issues as they are not much aware of technology and computer applications. A slow and high internet connection can play an important role on how quickly you can attend the class and do not miss any live sessions. There is a possibility of poor connectivity if you find difficulty in downloading some information related to the subject, read videos, and etc. Second, time management and distractions while studying from home or wherever students may be. There will be more distractions than usual, especially with family and probably with the younger siblings around. As a result of these distractions and having additional responsibilities, time management becomes more challenging. In many cases, students find difficulty in managing their time with online learning. Online learning is completely new for them and requires intensive work. They need a scheduled planner to manage their time in an effective manner. Online learning provides flexible time unlike traditional classrooms, but some face difficulties in adjusting to the time required for online learning.
The third one, lack of in-person interaction. As we all know, no man is an island. Without interaction with both instructors and classmates can be particularly challenging. The adjustment can be particularly difficult for students taking classes that are better suited for the face-to-face format, like those with science lab components. So here are the disadvantages of lacking of social interaction. Number one, we are creatures who all crave some kind of social interaction, and lack of it will cause loneliness. The second one, not being able to compare your own thoughts to the others. So you cannot speculate about other options you might not have seen yourself. Lastly, you cannot do reality checks. If you not interact with anyone for too long time, you will probably not what is real and what is not anymore. Lastly, uncertainty or lack of assurance about the future. We all know that many students have dropped out in their studies because they're not capable of doing this new educational system. The sudden switch to online classes for this school year in some cases has caused anxiety and raised questions among students about their academic futures. Some considered stopping school, for instance, while others are concerned about upholding a full course load while juggling family responsibilities at home.
And that's it. That is the end of our presentation. Once again, we are Group C of 11 ABMA students from Colegio de Calumpi. My name is Cardi D. Madarang.
I'm Micaela Salas.
I'm Josiah Miguel Tubig.
I'm Arner Rafael R. De Lusong.
I am Micaela Pangan.
I'm John Benedict Torres.
Thank you and God bless us all.
Education is painful, continual, and difficult to be done in kindness, by watching, by warning, by praise, but above all, by example. A pleasant day to everyone, to our respective audience. We are the Group 3 from Grade 11 STEM A, and welcome to our title defense. My name is Thea Dennis Esser.
I'm Angel Crispondo.
I am Richmond M. Carrillo.
Luis Constantine Caparoso.
I am Trisha Faith Galang.
I am Tiffany Calvico Gutierrez and
Isa Mariroque.
Presenting our research entitled as A Qualitative Research Impact of Parental Involvement to a Student's Academic Performance. To begin with, Let me introduce our chosen topics: the parental involvement and a student's academic performance. Parental involvement is the active participation of parents in their children's education. This involvement includes exposing their children to various learning activities to develop their socio-emotional and cognitive skills that directly contributes to their academic performance. Parental involvement includes monitoring their academic state, helping with their homework, and giving them encouragement and motivation. Moreover, academic performance dictates academic excellence, involving their intellectual level, competence, skills, and diligence. Test scores and report card grades most commonly measure it. Our research will bridge the gap between these two variables, parental involvement representing the independent variable and academic performance as the dependent variable. Although there are many articles regarding this study, there is a scarcity of research on the impact of parental involvement on a student's academic performance. Considering that parents have different ways of participating in their child's education, we will investigate whether it helps or hinders their learning process. Furthermore, we will investigate parental participation in these following perspectives: the impact of parental involvement, its challenges, and the potential solutions to those problems. After discussing this subject area, Ms. Gutierrez will expound on our research title.
Thank you, Ms. Esser. Our title is A Qualitative Research Impact of Parental Involvement to a Student's Academic Performance. Parent involvement in children's education has been proclaimed for years as being a very important predictor of student achievement. As we chase our academic pursuit, we can find ourselves searching for their guidance and support for what they can offer is distinct from what is found in school. We will uncover the underlying issues that parents and students face in this process. This qualitative study will be of huge help to students and their parents to be aware of the impacts, obstacles, and ways to improve their collaboration. Now, let us proceed on the main question in our research where Mr. Carillo will explain why we chose this topic.
Thank you for the introduction, Ms. Gutierrez. Now let us have the statement of the problem. As of today, the parents' role in children's education is still uncertain, and so are their influences limitations. According to Labahan in 1995, in his research on education and parental involvement, most parents have great intentions to involve themselves with their kids' education, to help them succeed in school and later in life. However, they are unsure on how to do that, leading to contradicting results that negatively affect a child's academic performance as indecisiveness, dependence, parental pressure, and negligence. Our group aims to find the solution for this issue by finding out the impact of parental involvement on children's education, leading us to appropriate ways on how parents can enhance their children's socio-emotional and cognitive skills as they take part in their education. Through an in-depth discussion, we can discover the significance and limitations of parental involvement. The general question to be answered in this study is, what is the impact of parental involvement on a student's cognitive and socio-emotional skill, and how does it reflect on their academic performance? So, why did we choose this? Studies suggest that improvements and challenges in a student's cognitive and socio-emotional skills start at a very young age and continually develop in adolescence. The engagement of parents is essential for developing mental and socio-emotional skills. Cognitive skills are brain-based skills required to work from the most basic to the most complex. In contrast, socio-emotional skills are the capacity to engage with people, communicate successfully, and manage emotions. Our group will investigate if parental involvement enhances or impairs these skill sets that account for a child's academic performance. This primary research will emphasize the guardian's role and responsibilities in their children's constant development to overcome all academic hurdles and concerns, leading to positive academic performance. Now, for the supporting questions, Ms. Roque and Ms. Bondoc will take part on explaining these questions.
Let us proceed by introducing the other supporting questions included in our research. The first question, what is the importance of parental involvement? We chose this question to learn more about the significance of parental involvement in their children's academic performance. We would like to know how much of an influence parental engagement has, whether it is essential or not, and whether it has a positive or negative impact. Secondly, what are the challenges faced during parental involvement and how can we solve them? We chose this question to understand the difficulties that children and parents may experience, as well as how we might fix the problems. The study's goal is to determine parental involvement which may take several forms and having varying effects on their children's academic success.
What are the strategies that will help a parent's involvement in their child's education? We choose this question because the focus of our study is about the responsibility of parents when it comes to the development of the cognitive and socio-emotional skills of a child. This question can emphasize what approaches and strategies most parents are doing to heighten their children's capability in school, from assisting their school activities to providing emotional support. This can also rectify the mistakes of other parents about the way they guide their children's education. Does parental involvement ensure a student's success? This question will look at the benefits and drawbacks of a student's academic achievement when their parents are involved. Our study will aim to discuss the significance of parental involvement in a student's learning and achievement. Parental involvement can make a positive difference at all age levels. According to research, the more intensively involved the parents are, the greater the positive impact on academic achievement. Parental involvement not only enhances academic performance, but it also has a positive influence on student attitude and behavior. Now moving on to our research objectives, let me call on Mr. Caparoso.
Thank you, Ms. Roque and Ms. Bondoc. The next question to be answered is, why did we conduct this research? First, to investigate the correlation between the factors in our study, which is parental involvement and academic performance. We, as students, recognize and experience how influential our parents are to our lives. Our research aims to acknowledge the prominence of the participation of parents in their children's academic performance, which leads to the second objective, to figure out the importance of parental involvement in children's well-being and development, how the skills they acquire at home can be an edge in school. Our study can also be an opportunity to learn strategies for the parents in terms of support and encouragement in their children's education. And lastly, to have an idea on how to develop programs for better parental involvement. We want to provide recommendations for effective learning, not just for the students and the parents, but also for the teachers, school, departments, and other organizations involved.
The findings of this research will benefit the following people regarding the impact of parental involvement to a child's education and their academic performance, beginning with the students. This research will show them the significance of parents' continuous guidance in their educational career before and after entering the school facilities, allowing them to actively seek their help when needed. This study will also present the current issues concerning parental involvement and how to resolve them, making way for an effective parent-to-child collaboration. Students can also recognize the good intention behind this process with the help of this research, thus eliminating misunderstandings and misconceptions.
Parents. Parental involvement benefits children as well as parents themselves. Parental involvement benefits parents when they participate in more engagement and discussion with their children, and they are more receptive and sensitive to their children's social, emotional, and intellectual development needs. They become aware of what their children are learning. They are more likely to assist them. Furthermore, parents have a better understanding of child development. They employ more affection and positive reinforcement and use less punishment on their children.
The third is the teachers. This research will provide enough information to know and improve the parent-teacher relationship that will more likely help the parents to know the situation of their child in school by having an open conversation with teachers. Teachers will be able to know what strategies and when to communicate to parents. Once teachers create their initial connection not only with students but also with parents, they may collaborate to help children fulfill their academic potential.
School administrators. School administrators are continually looking for ways to improve parental participation. Schools and family partnership involvement are not a one-size-fits-all model. Numerous factors go into the level of engagement, involvement, understanding, and the perspective of each party. The findings may be useful to school administrators in developing programs to improve their skills, knowledge, positive attitudes, and competencies in dealing with children.
Sixth and last is the future researchers. Research is a unique and systematic examination that aims to expand existing knowledge and understanding of the unknown. This research will serve as a foundation for future researchers and will benefit them for it will add to their facts and evidence. With the help of this study, future researchers will be able to ease their research. This can also help them determine whether parental involvement is beneficial or detrimental to students.
Now let me show you how we are going to conduct our research. Who? The senior high school students at Colegio de Columpit are our target interviewees. Parental involvement in a child's education has constantly been found to be linked to improved academic success. We pursue to learn more about the students' behavior, needs, and opinions about parental involvement. Students from the senior high school department were chosen because they were more likely to understand the researcher's query rather than the younger ones. They are no longer in their childhood, thus they have greater experience with parental engagement in their academic achievement. Even though parental participation is commonly lesser in senior high school students, since they were already exposed to that variable, they can conduct how it affects or affected them. When the interviewees that we choose are also students and have their online classes and a lot of other things to do. We don't want to rush anything since we value their time and privacy, so in order to gather responses from them, we scheduled our interviews after their classes, on weekends, and based on our interviewees' availability. Where? Our target interviewees are the students of Colegio de Columpit. We will conduct interviews to learn more about the student's perspective in order to have a better perception of the impacts of parental involvement on their academic achievement. The question will instigate their opinion and real-life experiences that will showcase the significance of parental participation in their academic journey.
Introduction. For a better understanding, we prepared a glimpse of our introduction. In this part, we will have an in-depth discussion about education, academic achievement and performance, parental involvement, and its impact on cognitive and social-emotional skills of a child. Let us explore the meaning of education. Education is defined as a process of teaching, training, and learning to enhance knowledge and develop skills, particularly in schools, colleges, and universities. However, it is much more than that. That for many of us, education serves as a stepping stone to finally meet the various chapters we will encounter along the path. Education is a way of life that begins at birth and continues until death. Applying all you learn shapes you and your direction, determining whatever you aspire from life.
We live in a competitive and capitalist society where better educational attainment increases the probability of finding a well-paying employment and thus higher quality of living. The level of parental support and encouragement in a child's education directly affects their academic progress, making them achieve more in and out of the classroom. Furthermore, academic achievement encompasses sportsmanship, confidence, communication skills, timeliness, assertiveness, the arts and cultures, among other things. Students' grade points average can assess accomplishments, while graduation rates can gauge achievement for institutions. Students who do well in school have a better chance of adjusting to adulthood and achieving professional and financial success.
Academic performance is the outcome of education, the extent to which a student, teacher, or institution has achieved their educational goals. It tackles how well the student accomplishes their duties, responsibilities, and studies. Academic performance is measured by examinations or continuous assessment. Many ways affect academic performance. External factors like the people around someone and their environment. That person himself can also affect their performance through internal factors like their mindset and need for a positive self-image. In addition, the presence and the guidance of their social community can alter its results positively or negatively.
Now, let us discuss the independent variable in our research, which is parental involvement. During childhood years, an individual's brain is referred to as a sponge that quickly absorbs and processes information. Children tend to copy everything they see and hear, from manners to language. This is where the vital role of the parents comes in. Parents are often referred to as first teachers because learning starts at home, not in school. Parental involvement is a critical factor to a child's development, and it establishes extended learning outside classrooms. Several studies prove that parents and families have a major impact on the success of the process of education and upbringing of children. By providing their needs and equipping them with skills that can be advantageous in school, children will be able to reach their full academic potential.
As we all know, parents have the responsibility to help their child develop skills. These skills can be categorized into two, the cognitive and social-emotional skills. First, cognitive skills include some of the brain's essential factors that include analytical skills, problem solving, and decision making. All of this has an impact on the quality of our learning and performance. Another thing that is an important aspect for a child's development is socio-emotional skill, where a child would have the capacity to comprehend and control their own feelings and behavior as well as others. In order for the children to develop these fundamental skills, they require cooperation, following instructions, showing self-control, and focus. They must have social and emotional capability to be able to handle skills including self-esteem, confidence, sense of companionship, and other things such as sense of humor and affection.
With this in mind, the parents and the whole community must make a conscious and intentional effort to fund the youth's socio-emotional and cognitive skills as they compete in global education standards. According to Fugerson, the factors outside the school facility account for nearly half of a student's academic achievement, including parental support. By recognizing their role in their children's education, parents can build a stable development program to increase the learner's academic confidence. Furthermore, brain research concludes that cognitive and emotional processes are interconnected. Most specifically, a person's emotion and cognition work together to process information and formulate an action. Considering this, we can conclude that parents are an essential support system through which the children can store and apply knowledge to make sensible decisions even outside the school settings.
And here the other related literature that we have entitled as the impact of parental involvement, parental support, and family education on pupils' achievements and adjustment. A literature review written by Professor Charles DeForge. This literature concentrated on how parental involvement, parental support, and family education impacts pupil achievement and adjustment in schools. This research introduced the different forms of parental involvement, including good parenting in the home, the provision of a secure and stable environment, intellectual stimulation, parent-child discussion, good models of constructive social and educational values, and etc. It emphasized the benefits of parental involvement in children's schooling and showed the range of activities in which parents engage to promote their children's education progress. This study also explained the issues strongly influencing the extent and form of parental involvement and how the degree of parental involvement diminishes as the child gets older. It is noted here that some parents will need help with all of these issues, while others will need only very selective support.
Our group believes that children are a valuable asset to society. Therefore, equipping them with proper guidance and support throughout their academic career will produce the best quality graduates who will soon become the leader and workforce of our country. We have reached the end of our title defense under the name of Impact of Parental Involvement to a Student's Academic Performance, a qualitative research from the senior high school students' perspectives. Again, this is Group C, and we hope you enjoyed our video.